Moving on to the other sport where you use bats and helmets. No, I'm not talking about cricket, Mike. The Oswego softball team had both of their games postponed this past weekend against Plattsburgh and Potsdam. The squad has struggled to open their campaign without now graduated outfielder Gabriel Vertuccio. They're sporting a 3-9 record, and times have been tough to say the least. But what's been the problem with this team this year, and what did they have to do to get back to that status that they had last year? They were 3 games over 500.
Well, when you get down into, I've been on a couple teams where the record gets this bad and really worse, to be honest. Not proud to say. But I think one of the things that is very important when you're on a team that is going down this road is that you really have to pull together. This is less about play and it's more about being there for each other. So I think this is one of those things when you're in the dugout, you need to make sure you're still lifting each other up. Maybe it's not going the way you need it to, but as long as you're pushing each other to get better, that's the thing that's going to help when you're moving down into these tougher stretches with a really bad record.
Yeah, and in these couple of games, I think they can honestly go back and find their stride and kind of go back to that 500 record, because the games that they've played are teams that they're not going to play ever again this season. Now they're going to go back and they're going to play teams that they're familiar with. And we saw that against Clarkson. They won one of the 2 out of their double headers. And then you just got to go back into the stride. I mean, their pitching hasn't been great. Their pitching as a whole ERA is over 5. And, opposite of the baseball team where their pitching is great, now your offense, which is not even that hot, which they've scored one again. They scored in their last loss. They've scored 1 run against Clarkson. And if your pitching's not going to get it done, your bats, even if they do provide a well amount, they're not going to win because their pitching is giving up a lot of runs in crucial times.
Yeah. And one of the things I wanted to highlight, Mike, you touched on it a little bit, is that pitching. The biggest X factor for them last season was Rebecca Vilches. She had a career year last year, and now she's pitching a 5.55 ERA. She's 0 for 4 on the season, and like you said, the pitching in general is not great. Emily Nolden is their only solid hitter on the team. She's batting 500, and it's not like she's not having a lot of at-bats. She is getting solid plate appearances too. So their hitting, it's not the bigger concern. It is the pitching, and if they can get the pitching down pat, I can see them getting back to that 500 level status at the end of the season and have a pretty solid season when it all is said and done. In this week's Lakers Sports Preview, it's a busy week at home as the baseball and softball teams, like we just discussed, play home multiple times this week. For the men, it's against St. Lawrence and St. John Fisher, and for the ladies, they play RIT twice on Tuesday and Oneonta twice on Friday. Give me some predictions, boys. What's going to happen in these 2 contests? Mike, I'll start with you, and I know that we talked about the away Ithaca game, but talk about the home games, how much these home games mean to both these teams.
Home games mean a lot no matter what, and they're doing well at home. So if they could capitalize on these home games, that's just another strength that they could add under their belt, and that's something that they could always rely on, is at these home games, because you're going to have your fans, as we saw against the hockey. When the fans weren't there, they started playing. I mean, I'm not going to say that was the X factor of the whole entire thing, but it's nice to have your fans there, and if they can play well where they're familiar, it's just, why not take advantage of that? Because if they're going to be on the road, they're not going to have those type of same advantages. So why not take advantage of that? And I think they would look good at home too.
Yeah, I think that I really think you hit everything on the head, and I think the underlying tone in that is momentum. I think one of the things that they really need to just make sure that they're moving forward is that they're still walking. There needs to be continuous movement. Keep it up. Make sure you stay hot and play the way that you've been playing. Move as one. That's kind of the theme.
So we see a lot in these baseball and softball seasons, a lot of double headers, a lot of home and away double headers. Do you think it's bad for these teams that they're seeing the double headers so much? Why, Mike?
Yes, because especially with softball, a lot of their games are being canceled. So if you're not going to be playing, softball, if you're not going to be playing games regularly, and you just jump into these double headers, it's going to do a lot, because they're not going to be as warmed up. They're not going to be as loose as you would hope they would be. It really does play a factor, and even with these triple headers, if these games are getting canceled, which you have to think about in the back of your head, and you just jump into this, they're not going to be playing at the 100% level that you want to be.
Yeah, there's always issues. You're going to get way more run out in a doubleheader game, doubleheader day. Forget a tripleheader day. Like, oh my God.
When the baseball team played New Paltz.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Like
you're going to get tired at the end of that. So I think it's just stay with it, keep moving.
Well, again, the 2 doubleheaders this week and then the Ithaca game against the baseball team, going to be an absolute thriller to see how these 2 teams go down the stretch. I'm excited for it. When we come back, I promised it would be here after the entire season. Now it finally is. Start spreading the news.
We
got New York for headline hits and talk of the town. Stay tuned. You're watching OSU. Welcome back to OSU. We're taking a trip down all the boroughs and then some with these headline hits, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Starting off in Brooklyn, the Nets are gearing up for a playoff push as they're looking to secure the 6, 7, or 8 seed in the Eastern Conference. The front office has made some great moves in making the Nets prominent once again, but yet they still aren't connected to any big-name free agents, and their Knick friends are getting all the free agency buzz at Madison Square Garden. Mike, I know you're a little biased as a Nets fan, but do you think the Brooklyn Nets are being overlooked in free agency?
Well, I'm glad you asked, James. Yes, I think they're being overlooked, and I think there's no competition or no way ifs, ands, or buts around that. They're the other team, and that's something that we have to accept. So all the free agency buzz is going to go to the Knicks. You got Kyrie, Kevin Durant. But the people overlook what the Nets have been doing, and that's that they built a franchise from the ground up. They've drafted guys like Jarrett Allen, drafted guys like Karis LeVert and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. But D'Angelo Russell, they made a star about. And if I'm a free agent looking at how well they're gelling in almost in a playoff spot, that's got to be a little enticing.
Well, they're definitely bringing some excited basketball back to the Barclays Center. However, staying in the Barclays Center and moving to hockey, on Saturday night, the New York Islanders clinched a playoff spot even after losing John Tavares. It really goes to show the amount of effort this full team put into making a playoff push. Bo, how far do you see the Isles going in the playoffs, and what or who is their X factor?
Well, their X factor has to be the goaltending. Robin Lehrer has a .92 save percentage. He's second in the NHL amongst the goaltenders. I thought I think they could have made a better push moving forward, but they lost John Tavares, and that's a big hit to me. Tampa Bay is running away with it, and I mean they can still do something. Boston, the Capitals, and the Islanders at the 2, 3, and 4 are all one game apart, so they can still do something if they want to.
It's going to be really entertaining to see how the Isles make that push, especially if they come up against the Maple Leafs in that first round game. Moving to Queens, the New York Mets have looked really solid this opening weekend. Led by Robinson Cano and Pete Alonso, the Mets offense has been able to get it done even if it's been close. Mike, can the Mets carry this offensive momentum throughout the season? Because they've been hitting against great pitchers this season, such as Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg. Can they get it done?
We've seen this pattern before with the Mets, and that's they've done so great in the beginning of the year. We saw it last year. They started 11-1, and they began to fold, and that's because of the roadblocks that are presented to them. When guys go down, the team folds as a unit, and that's something that they have to overcome. Is that injuries are going to happen. And they've looked so well, and if they could keep the way that they're playing now, guys like Pete Alonso is stepping up, Ahmad Rosario, Robinson Cano has fit really well, and their pitching has been great too, and they've been backing up their pitchers, coming back in games. So yes, I think they could contend.
Well, we will see if the Mets are able to get back on top where they were in 2015. Finally, we're going to New Jersey, where the New York Jets are looking pretty serious in the AFC East, and I'm pretty happy since I'm a Jets fan. They've added Le'Veon Bell and C.J. Mosley to a team that only needed a few pieces to be a contender in the division. Bo, do you think the Jets make a playoff push against the Patriots for the AFC East? Or will they contend for a wild card spot, or will they even make the playoffs?
It's not even fair to ask me that Patriots question. You know this, but I think they'll make the playoffs, and I think they'll definitely make a little bit more noise than they usually have. Obviously, adding Le'Veon Bell to an already halfway decent offense is going to be good. To see what Sam Darnold does with his sophomore season is definitely going to be interesting. We can't expect much. I think they should be more worried about Cleveland than anybody else. I think Baker Mayfield and Odell are going to be more of a problem than people are expecting them to be. But that's just kind of my idea of it. Love Baker.
Well, Le'Veon Bell just is about to drop a rap song, so we'll see if there's any motivation for the rest of the Jets in the locker room as they're getting ready for their games this year. Moving on to talk of the town, the New York Yankees are back in full swing as they kicked off their season 1-2, or 2-2, excuse me, after dropping the series against the Baltimore Orioles. They just beat the Detroit Tigers tonight, excuse me. Something has to change with this team, however. They looked great in their first win, but the bullpen and offense looked awful in the second and third games. Boys, who's to blame for this collapse in the Baltimore series? Where do they go from here? Because Giancarlo Stanton and Miguel Andujar are now both injured, and we're hearing whispers that Miguel Andujar could miss the entire season.
What are you so afraid of?
Exactly.
I'm a Yankees fan.
What are you so afraid of,
I'm a Yankees
man?
fan. Because, okay, so here's why I'm afraid.
Let's
is
hear
that
it.
the first couple of games, and you're supposed to beat Baltimore because you should be tacking on 18 wins against this Baltimore team. You tacked on 12 against them last year. The easy games are the ones that you have to make and take, because if you don't win those games, when you're going down the stretch against a team like the Boston Red Sox, who you're going to be going neck and neck with in the AL East, you're going to regret dropping these games to the Orioles that early. And they're going to look back on it and regret it. I know that
But
they
is
are.
it going to?
They've played 4 games. No. I don't want.
Get this man.
Microphone.
Get this man a mic.
Ooh,
Mic him up.
guess who's
my
back?
God.
Cameraman Joe Panzarino, not your average Joe. He's here for the take. What do you got to say, Joe?
Can you hear me? All right, listen. You can hear me, right? Yeah, cool. All right, so listen.
Yes, we
Here's
can
the
hear
thing.
you.
Here's the thing. It's April 1st. It was still March when they were dropping games. These games are not must-win games. I
They're
get
not.
what you're saying, that when it's
Yeah,
you know
no,
when
not even
it's
a little.
game 150 and we're fighting for a playoff spot potentially, that you might want to look back on these games and say they matter. I disagree with that. It
Why?
just it doesn't.
So here's what I'll ask you, because we talked about this before the season even started, is that these are games that the Yankees should be winning, and that we thought that they should start the season 9-0. They play against Baltimore,
This is
Detroit,
why you guys are
and
disappointed,
Baltimore.
because you guys have this
Yes.
vision in your head. You're going to start out 9-0.
Oh,
That's
why
just
not?
gonna-
We're playing the
Why
Baltimore
not?
Orioles.
He
For the,
goes.
listen,
The Boston,
listen,
the
why
Boston Red
not?
Sox didn't even think they were going to start 9-0. They have a worse record than the Yankees right now, and they're defending World Series champions.
Listen, the New York Yankees should be able to start 9-0 because the Baltimore Orioles and the Detroit Tigers are teams that could both have over 100 losses this year. Do you not understand that?
It doesn't matter. Listen, the Baltimore Orioles have always had the Yankees number. It's just, honestly, there's something that
Always.
we've just, it's just something we've been accustomed to. These are games in March. You just have to feel these games out. This is, when playing in this early in the season, is just to see what your problems are and how you fix them. So problems are going to arise. It's just a matter of how you fix them.
Yeah, this is your real spring training, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Everything else is to see if minor league guys are going to be able to fit into your system or anything else like that. This is where you're going to come in and actually get the team to gel.
No, this is telling for the rest of this is telling for the rest of the season because if Aaron Boone is not making the correct calls, I'll give you an example. Everybody that is hating on me right now.
No, not this.
Steven Tarpley, right? He was pitching against in the third game against the Baltimore Orioles when they were getting slapped up, all right? And then
get
Joey
slapped
Ricard is in the batter's box. Chris Davis is on deck. Chris Davis, after the steroid use, has been one of the worst hitters of
But
all
he's collecting
time.
the bag.
And he is.
But he's collecting a bag.
And he is even worse against left-handed pitchers. So enter Tarpley, who is going up against Joey Ricard, who excels against left-handed batting. Who makes the call to intentionally walk somebody and then face a batter the next at bat?
I think you
Why
answered
don't you
your
walk
question.
What is
Ricard?
the date of this game?
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
Because
I think-
Boone,
absolutely does.
Boone didn't make the calls last year, and he wasn't making the calls this year.
It's not a
because he
must-win
doesn't have
game.
the cojones.
He doesn't. The cojones counter is back. Listen, if Aaron Boone had the cojones, get Larry Rothschild out of the conversation. It is on Aaron Boone to send him out and talk to Tarpley, or it's on Aaron Boone to decide whether you should intentionally walk a right-handed batter that does well, and then Joey Ricard against left-handed pitchers, and then Joey Ricard takes Tarpley deep to right field, and it just extends the Orioles' lead.
It's not a must-win game.
I think you answered your own question here. You said they were getting slapped up, correct?
Correct.
Slapped up, as
Correct.
Mr. Cotado would say. So why are you going to intentionally walk a guy when there's no one on base?
Because the Yankees made a ninth-inning rally.
No, because why?
Yes.
No.
Because
Why
that
would
one home run could have made a difference
If you're going to tell
in the
someone
game.
immediately right away, just walk him. He has no way to get better. How is he going to get better against those types of pitchers,
Exactly.
those type of batters?
There is no look. I understand what you're saying, that you want to get rid of the threat and go up against the easy guy. This guy's not going to get any better if he doesn't pitch. This is the
He
perfect
has a
time to do it.
12.5 ERA.
If
He
you
is
think
a
that's-
minor league pull-up. He will not be on the team anymore. The point I'm trying to make is that Boone needs to make the correct calls now so that in the end of the season, he doesn't have to worry about messing up anymore, so that when he has Adam Ottavino and Dellin Betances in, he can make the right decisions. This is why Joe Girardi almost got fired. He didn't make the right calls. Aaron Boone is given so much slack with this franchise because he's the nice guy. Are you kidding me?
No, because he's
And
been
guess
for
what,
not
Mr.
even 2
Boone?
seasons.
There is
What?
no more Mr. Nice Guy here in the Bronx.
No.
What are you jumping to right now? He's not even been in for 2 seasons as any coach of any
And
kind.
he's an awful manager.
I don't.
Oh my God!
I
100
think it's a
wins.
fatal mistake. I think he said, like you said, they're getting slapped up. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yes.
He
The
said,
young
let
kids
the
would
guy
say it.
throw. Let the guy throw.